So student, in this today's lecture, we will see about the opening and closing of stomata. So in the previous lecture, we saw there what is the structure of this stomatal apparatus. Okay, and so with respect to that, there is a question how this stomatal apparatus they get open and how they get closed. Okay, so let's see the opening and closing of stomata. Okay, opening and closing of stomata. Okay, opening and closing of stomata. So student, this stomata, at what time it is open and when it is closed. Okay, remember during daytime. Okay, during daytime. Okay, during daytime, this stomata. Okay, stomata. They remain open. Okay, remain open. Okay, remain open. So why they remain open? Because the guard cell, okay, guard cell, they become turgid. Okay, guard cell become turgid. Okay, and because of the turgidity of guard cell, the stomata they remain open. Okay, then why they become the turgid? Because during daytime, that guard cells they continuously shows the endoosmosis. Okay, endoosmosis. So because of the endoosmosis, the guard cell they become turgid. Okay, the guard cell they become turgid, and because of the turgid guard cell, the stomata they remain open. Okay, then the next during the night time. Okay, during the night time, what happens, student? During the night time, this stomata. Okay, stomata they remain closed. Remain closed. Okay, they remain closed. In the sense, the guard cells. Okay, guard cells. Guard cells they remain flaccid. Okay, guard cell they remain flaccid. Okay, why they remain flaccid? Because of the exoosmosis. Because of the exoosmosis. So remember during night time what happened? The guard cells they shows the exoosmosis. Okay, guard cells they show the exoosmosis, and because of the continuous exoosmosis, these guard cells they become the flaccid, and when the guard cell they become flaccid, that stomata, the stomata they remain closed. Okay, they remain closed when the guard cells are flaccid. That stomata they remain closed. Then why such type of the endoosmosis takes place during the daytime, and why there is a exoosmosis it is seen during night time? This takes place because of the change in osmotic concentration of the guard cell. Okay, change in osmotic concentration of the guard cell. So remember student here, because of the change in osmotic concentration of the guard cell, the stomatal opening and the closing it is same. Okay, so remember student, with respect to this osmotic concentration of guard cells, the various scientists they put forth the theories about the diurnal fluctuation of the osmotic concentration of the guard cells. So with respect to that, in your syllabus, the two theories are placed. The first theory, it is called as a starch-sugar interconversion theory. Okay, the first theory with respect to the opening and the closing of stomata, that theory. Okay, the first theory, it is a starch-sugar interconversion theory, starch sugar interconversion theory. Remember this theory, it was put forth by the scientist Stewart in 1964, by the Stewart in 1964. So according to scientist Stewart, okay, this stomatal opening, it is seen during daytime, and at the closing of stomata it is seen during night time. But to that he gives support to there is a conversion of the starch and sugar. Okay, there is a conversion of the starch and sugar. That means during daytime, that's what happened. Okay, according to the Stewart, during daytime, okay, what happened? During daytime, the starch, okay, in the presence of the enzyme, that enzyme is called as a phosphorylase enzyme. In the presence of phosphorylase enzyme, what happened? This starch, it is converted into sugar. Okay, starch, it is converted into sugar. So what happens, student? In the guard cell during the daytime, okay, the starch, it is converted into sugar. Okay, starch, it is converted into sugar. So in the guard cell, remember, suppose we saw yesterday the structure of guard cell. Okay, so during daytime, the starch, it is converted into sugar. So all the guard cells, they are having the sugar during daytime. Okay, sugar during daytime. Then what happened? In the presence of the sugar during daytime, the osmotic concentration of guard cell, it is increases. Okay, it is increases. And remember, when the osmotic concentration of guard cell, it is increases during daytime, then here is also in the another cell. Okay, in the another cell, there is a increase in osmotic concentration. Okay, there is a increase in osmotic concentration due to the formation of sugar inside. So what happened? Because of the increase in osmotic concentration during daytime, these guard cells, they show the endosmosis. Means they take the water from surrounding. Okay, they take the water from surrounding. So the water, it is received from the surrounding. So because of the continuous endosmosis during daytime, the guard cell, they become turgid. Okay, guard cell, they become turgid. You know that yesterday we saw there, this outer wall of the guard cell, it is very thin, and inner wall of the guard cell, it is thick. Okay, inner wall, it is thick. So this outer wall, it is very thin, and along with that, that wall, it is elastic, and the inner wall, it is thick and it is inelastic. So this outer wall, they stretch the inner wall. Okay, they stretch the inner wall, and so because of this, the inner thick wall, they push from each other. Okay, they push from each other, and the opening is created in between the two guard cell. Okay, in between the two guard cell. Because why that opening is created? Because of the stretching of the outermost elastic wall of the guard cell. The thick inner wall, they push from each other, and because of that, the small pore-like openings develop here. Okay, and we call the stomata open. So this is the open stoma. Okay, this is the open stoma. Okay, so this is the open stoma due to the turgid. Okay, due to the turgid guard cells. Okay, due to the turgid guard cells. So it is takes place in during the daytime. It is takes place during the daytime. Then what happened during the night time? During night time, remember, the exact reverse process is seen, that sugar, it is converted into, so during the night time, okay, during the night time, what happened? The sugar, it is converted into starch. Okay, so you know that under the normal temperature, this starch, they are insoluble in water. Okay, so when during night time the sugar is converted into starch, then automatically osmotic concentration of the guard cell, it is decreases. Okay, osmotic concentration of the guard cell, it is decreases. In the sense, student, during the night time, okay, during the night time, what happened? When the osmotic concentration of the guard cell, it is decreases due to presence of the starch. So this is the starchy molecules. Okay, this is the starch. Due to presence of starch, osmotic concentration decreases, and this guard cells, they show the exoosmosis, means they release the water from this. Okay, they show the exoosmosis, and when they show the exoosmosis, the cell, they become flaccid. Okay, so the turgor pressure, it is released, and the cell, they become flaccid. So this both the cell, okay, both these cell, they become flaccid. Okay, both the cell, they become flaccid due to the presence of the starch. Okay, due to presence of starch during night time, both the cell, they become flaccid. In the sense, the tension develop over the outermost thin wall of guard cell, it is released. Okay, it is released, and because of that, this thick wall, they come closer. Okay, the thick wall, they come closer, and this stoma, they get closed. Okay, so this is the closed. Okay, this is the closed stoma. Okay, so according to this scientist Stewart, they put forth the first theory, and what was that theory? That theory was, it is a starch-sugar interconversion theory, and according to this theory, because of the interconversion of the starch and the sugar, during daytime the stomata, they open, and during night time the stomata, they get closed, and this is totally based on there is a change in the osmotic concentration of the guard cell. That means the osmotic concentration, it is higher during daytime and it is lower during night time. Because of this, the diurnal fluctuation in osmotic concentration of guard cell, the stomata, they remain open during daytime and they remain closed during night time. Then the second theory, what is the second theory? According to this second theory, that second theory, it was put forth by the scientist Leavitt. Okay, and what was that second theory? See, the second theory. That second theory, it is called as a proton transport theory. Okay, that second theory, it is called as a proton transport theory. So see, the second theory, it is the proton transport theory. Okay, this proton transport theory, it was given by the scientist Leavitt. Okay, by the Leavitt. Okay, by the Leavitt in during the 1974. Okay, during the 1974. So what was that? The proton transport theory. This proton transport theory, they clearly explain the opening and closing of stomata. So what happens, student? In the proton transport theory, during daytime, okay, during daytime, what happen inside the guard cell? Okay, guard cell. What happen inside the guard cell during daytime? During daytime, remember, the starch, it is converted into, okay, starch, it is converted into malic acid. Okay, starch, it is converted into malic acid. So in the guard cell, remember, during daytime, according to scientist Leavitt, inside the guard cell, the starch, it is converted into malic acid. Okay, then this formed malic acid, they get dissociated. In the form of the malate ions and the proton. So in the form of the malate ions and the proton. Okay, that means the H plus ions. Okay, malate ions and the protons. So see, what is that the situation? See student, this is the guard cell. Okay, this is the guard cell. Yesterday we saw in case of the dicot. Okay, in case of the dicot, the guard cells are kidney shaped. So during daytime, what happened? Here the starch is converted to malic acid, and finally the malic acid is converted into malate ions. Okay, malate and the proton. Okay, malate and the proton. So there is a malate. Here is also a malate. Okay, and the proton means the H plus ions. Okay, H plus ion. Then what happened? This proton, they are transferred toward the outer subsidiary cells. Okay, they are transferred. So all these are the subsidiary cells. Okay, or these are also called as accessory cells. We saw in previous lecture. So again, this proton, they are transferred toward these subsidiary cells. This proton, they are transferred toward the subsidiary cells. You know that, student, these subsidiary cells, they act as a reservoir of the potassium ion. Okay, they act as a reservoir of the K plus ion. Okay, here it is a reservoir of the K plus ion. Here is also a reservoir of K plus ion. So when this proton, remember, this proton, it is transferred toward the subsidiary cell. Then in return of that, this K plus ion, potassium ion, they are taken inside. Okay, so the K plus ion, they are received from the subsidiary cell. Okay, inside the guard cell, this K plus ion, they are received inside the guard cell. So these are received, this K plus ion, they are received, and these are also received. So remember, when the malic acid, they dissociate to form the malate ions and the proton, and that proton, formed proton, they are immediately transferred toward the subsidiary cells, and in return of that, this potassium ion, they are taken inside. So what happens, student? In the guard cell, this potassium ion, plus there is a presence of the malate. Okay, there is a presence of the malate. What is formed in the guard cell? There is a formation of the potassium. Okay, potassium malate. There is a formation of the potassium malate. So remember, student, this potassium malate, it is synthesized inside the guard cell. Okay, it is synthesized inside the guard cell. So due to synthesis of the potassium malate inside the guard cell, the osmotic concentration of that guard cell, it is increases. Osmotic concentration of guard cell, it is increases. Remember, student, I want to point out, or I want to mark who is responsible for the increase in concentration of the guard cell, osmotic concentration of guard cell. The potassium malate, they are responsible for increasing the osmotic concentration of guard cell. So because of this, the guard cell during daytime, they show the endosmosis, and the guard cell, they become turgid. And you know that we saw, we are seeing in the previous theory, when the guard cell, they become turgid, the outer wall, it is thin and elastic one, they get stretched, and because of this, the inner thick wall they push from each other and they create an opening. That means the stomata they get open. Okay. So who is responsible for maintaining the osmotic concentration of guard cell during daytime? This potassium malate is responsible. Okay. So you remember this one. Then what happens, student, during the night time? Okay, during the night time. Okay, during the night time, remember there is an increase in increase in CO2 concentration. Okay, there is an increase in the CO2 concentration, and remember there is a one growth inhibitor. The name of that growth inhibitor, it is the abscisic acid. Okay, in the presence of the abscisic acid. Okay, in the presence of this abscisic acid and increase in concentration of the CO2 during night time, the permeability of guard cell is changed, and they stop the intake of the K plus ion, and yes, they stop the intake of K plus ion. Okay, but remember, student, here what happened? I want to tell you, when the potassium malate is formed inside the guard cell, the osmotic concentration increases. Okay, it is increases, and because of increase in osmotic concentration, the guard cells they show the endoosmosis, they become turgid, and the stomata they get open. But remember, this K plus ion, it is balanced by the uptaking the Cl minus ion from this surrounding cell, means surrounding accessory or subsidiary cells. So the K plus ion, it is balanced by the intake of the Cl minus ions, means the chloride ions, and so due to continuous uptake of the chloride ions, this potassium ion, it is balanced with the chloride ions, and so because of this, the osmotic concentration of guard cell remain as it is, or they are maintained as it is due to the formed potassium malate. Then student, see during night time how the stomata they get closed. During night time there is an increase in concentration of the CO2, and along with that, in the presence of the abscisic acid, okay, abscisic acid, it is a growth inhibitor, the permeability of the guard cell, it is changed. Okay, permeability of the guard cell, it is changed, and so in the presence of the abscisic acid, they inhibit the uptake of the K plus and Cl minus ion. Okay, uptake of the K plus and Cl minus ion, and when there is no uptake of the K plus and Cl minus ion, there is no formation of the potassium malate inside the guard cell, and automatically the osmotic concentration of guard cell during night time, it is decreases. Okay, it is decreases, and during night time that cell they shows the exosmosis. They shows the exosmosis, and when they show the exosmosis, the guard cell they become flaccid, and when the guard cell they become flaccid, that stomatal opening they get closed. Okay, so remember, this is the theory put forth by the scientist Leavitt, and that theory is the proton transport theory. Okay, proton transport theory. So student, here we saw the two theories, and that theories they clearly explain the diurnal fluctuation of the osmotic concentration of guard cell, and with respect to that, they explain there the stomata they remain open during daytime and they remain closed during night time. Now we will see the last part from this, the transpiration, that is the significance of the transpiration. Okay, significance of transpiration. significance of the transpiration. So in this significance, or it is also called as the importance of the transpiration. So under this, the significance of the transpiration, it is we have to say it is also called as importance. Okay, the importance or the significance of the transpiration. So under the significance of transpiration, we have to consider the two main heads. What are the advantages and the disadvantages of the transpiration? So let's see first the advantages of transpiration. Okay, advantages of the transpiration. So what are the different advantages of the transpiration? See, the first advantage, it removes the excess of water. Okay, it removes the excess water. So the first advantage, removes excess water. Okay, it removes excess water. So whatever the water absorbed by the plant, that water, excess water, it is removed because of the transpiration. Then the next advantage, the second advantage we have to say, the transpiration, they helps in the ascent of sap. So they helps in ascent of sap. Okay, they helps in the ascent of sap. In the sense, because of the transpiration, because of the continuous transpiration in aerial portion, they maintain the transpiration pool, and because of that transpiration, the dissolved element in the water, they are absorbed continuously, and they are translocated toward the aerial portion of the plant body. So remember, the absorption of the water and minerals, it is maintained because of this transpiration. So this is the second most important advantage of this transpiration. The third advantage is it facilitate the exchange of gases. So because of this transpiration, they provide the facility. They provide the facility for the exchange of gases. They provide the facility for the exchange of gases. In the sense, because of transpiration, the stomata remain open, and when the stomata remain open, the gases exchange takes place. So this is the third merit. Then the fourth merit, because of the continuous transpiration, the turgor pressure, it is maintained. So the turgor pressure, they maintain the turgor pressure. Okay, maintain the turgor pressure. Okay, they maintain the turgor pressure. Okay, so the turgidity of the cell, it is maintained because of the transpiration. So this is the advantage. Okay, this is the advantage. Then the fifth advantage, because of the continuous transpiration, they reduces the temperature of the plant body. So the fifth advantage is they reduces the temperature of the plant body. Okay, they reduces the temperature of the plant body. In the sense, suppose this is the leaf area, and when the water it is removed from this leaf surface, then automatically they provide the cooling effect. Okay, they provide the cooling effect to that plant part. Okay, they provide the cooling effect to that plant part. So these are the 5 different advantages of the transpiration. Then student, what is the disadvantage? So the next one, it is the disadvantage. Okay, disadvantage. Remember student, there is one disadvantage. Because of the excessive transpiration, okay, what happened? There is a wilting of the crop plant. Okay, there is a wilting. Okay, there is a wilting. म्हणजे ते प्लांट हे कोमेजून जातं. and when there is a maximum wilting, they cause the injury, and they cause the injury. Okay, they cause the injury. So it is a dangerous or harmful to that plant when there is a excessive transpiration. So student, now we will move toward the last part. Why the transpiration, it is called as a necessary evil. So this the why it is a necessary evil. Okay, why the transpiration, it is a necessary evil. ओके, हे व्हॉट इज इव्हिल म्हणजे आपण संकट म्हणतो, पण हे नेसेसरी आहे. इट ऍक्ट्स ॲज ए नेसेसरी इव्हिल. व्हाय द ट्रान्सपिरेशन इट ऍक्ट्स ॲज ए नेसेसरी इव्हिल. म्हणजे हे संकट आहे, परंतु हे कसं आहे, गरजेचं आहे. सो व्हाय द ट्रान्सपिरेशन इट ऍक्ट्स ॲज अ नेसेसरी इव्हिल. आय वॉन्ट टू नॅरेट दिस कॉन्सेप्ट very briefly. You know that student, when there is a transpiration, the stomata remain open. Okay, and when the stomata remain open, there will be a gases exchange. Okay, and that gases exchange, it is required for the photosynthesis and the respiration. So because of that, the productivity of the plant body, it is increases. Okay, then when the transpiration is not there, then the stomata remain closed and there is no gases exchange, so the productivity of that plant it is decreases. So remember, for with respect to the increase in productivity of the plant body, the transpiration it should be required, or it acts as a necessary evil. So with this student, we will stop at this moment. So with this lecture, we are completed this entire topic. Okay, so now we stop here at this moment.